All right, we're gonna have some fun today. Let me just kind of lay out the structure for today, a little of the expectations going forward, and then we're just gonna get right into it. This is a train the trainer process. So it means you're all getting ready to do what I'm about to do for the next 2 or 3 hours. And there's a number of things that go on in a train-the-trainer process and in delivering a program like this, which is very skills-oriented for salespeople who think and work a certain way. And so there's components to getting yourself to the point where you're comfortable in that environment and you can deliver the message in a way that's well received by the participants and allows you to create an environment where the skill transfer happens a little bit at a time. But the most important part of it begins with them kind of accepting you in that role to start with. And so the things we're going to cover to help you think about it from their perspective, how you can create the environment where they accept you right from the beginning and they kind of pull you into their world and then openly want you to be part of their development process. Okay? So this train-the-trainer process will begin today. We'll accelerate into next week, and then we'll continue on through the delivery of the programs over the next 4 to 8 weeks. So I would encourage you to take a lot of notes today. As train-the-trainers, you're going to be building your own leader's guide. The book you have in front of you, I would recommend you open it up immediately and begin taking notes on all the things we're doing. You're also going to have a videotape that we're taking here that will also be part of your leader's guide. We will take the videos, dissect them, and link them to the PowerPoint slides that we're going to go through. And this should be available to you by sometime tomorrow afternoon through a web portal access that you can use to as part of your training and learning and preparation. But in terms of what you do, there's a lot of things that are going to happen here that will help you if you kind of capture the notes. So when you open up your book, you've got one slide with the bottom half of the page for taking notes, but you also have the entire opposite page that's completely blank for you to add your own ideas. Here's a couple of hints in terms of how to take notes for a leader's guide. Think about how things apply. You're less interested in writing down the things I say and more interested in writing down the things that you think of that make it connect for you, that make it real for you, that later you can go back to and will trigger a lot of the things that happen because you'll have the videos to review to help you with some of the more key concepts. But it's really the very first thought that hits you when you see a concept or you hear something described a certain way, whether you like it or don't like it or agree with it or don't agree with it, capture that thought while it's happening because later when you reflect on it, it'll help you understand why you reacted that way. And it'll help you relate to the audience in terms of how they might react. And then you can prepare how you're going to be able to handle that. And so some things may get handled and addressed later in the process, and then you'll come back and say, okay, now I understood why I reacted that way, how I'm going to handle it going forward. So I strongly, strongly encourage you to always have a pen in your hand and always kind of be writing those thoughts down so you can go back to them later and kind of work it through in your own mind. So the process is going to go like this. This morning I'm going to deliver the program. We'll capture it on videotape. Then this afternoon we're going to spend the entire afternoon discussing it. All those thoughts that you wrote down, we're going to go back through them and say, hey, here's how it hit me. And then we're going to discuss those and explore them further to begin to clarify for you kind of what's happening, why it's happening, so you can begin to internalize the concepts and the way you're going to deliver it and all that. Starting sometime at the end of tomorrow or Monday, whenever you want, you will begin the process of studying. Your main objective between today and next Thursday when we come back together is to get to the point where you have internalized the core concepts that are in this program. You're not going to be memorizing how to say everything. What you're going to be doing is internalizing the concepts so that you're comfortable with them to the point where you can stand up without looking at anything and describe the concepts to the audience. It will probably take you, depending on your experience and background and how familiar you are with this particular type of program and the contents of it, it could take you anywhere from, I'd say on the low side, 10 to 15 hours if you've done a bunch of this, to on the high side, 30, 40, 50 hours of self-study between now and next week, to where you're comfortable with a lot of these core components and the ability to deliver them comfortably in an audience like this. And so you have to determine how long it'll take you based on your background and experience. Then when we come back next week, Thursday and Friday, you will be asked to stand up and deliver exactly what I delivered this morning in its entirety. And those of us in the room are going to act as participants and basically interact with you to see how you handle not just the delivery, but the distractions that come from the audience and the interaction and the questions and some of the other things that happen, so to see if you can get through the materials as well as handle some of the dynamics. It won't be nearly as hostile as in a real classroom. We're going to be a lot nicer about it, but at least it helps you begin that process. And so we'll let you present the materials for about an hour and a half or so. You know, the core content can be delivered in about that long, hour and a half, 2 hours. And then we're going to debrief and give you feedback, and you're going to give yourself feedback, and other members are going to kind of give you their perspective on it, because it'll help you hear other people's perspective on why and how. When that's done, you will all be at a certain point of certification, meaning either you're ready to co-deliver a class, or there's some more things you need to work on. But it'll be clear by the end of that session next week where you are and either when you're ready to go or what additional things you need to work on to prepare. Then we're going to start delivering the classes the following week. And we're going to determine, based on where you are, who will be ready to co-deliver. And co-deliver just means, you know, we'll work together. Let's say, Deborah, you and I decide we're going to co-deliver something. And we'll say, okay, Deborah, for the first class, you're just going to observe. By the second class, I'd like you to deliver the second module. I'll deliver the first, you deliver the second. We'll see how it's going. I'll deliver the third, let you kind of relax for a while, catch your breath, and maybe you can deliver the fourth. And we'll develop a plan together, something that you're comfortable, and then we can have a strategy for how, if something happens and you're not comfortable, we can kind of pick it up and just keep going. And then we're going to have like 18, 20 classes to deliver. So there'll be opportunities for those of you who are part of the trainer-trainer program to help co-deliver. So if you're not ready by the end of next week to co-deliver, you can still take the following week to prepare and then say, hey, I'd like to co-deliver the week after that or the week after that. So there'll be opportunities depending on how fast and how slow you want to go. Then we kick in with the coaching. Right after the classes are done, we do team-based coaching, which is the application of the skills and competencies in a real environment where the participants are recorded using the skills and competencies on real calls. They bring them to a 1 hour team coaching session. We listen to those calls, and then we coach the skills and competencies to real calls, and we give feedback and develop the team that way. And so part of your certification is to be able to facilitate a team coaching session. And we'll determine, based on your readiness, how many of those you want to co-facilitate. And we'll kind of have a progressive process to get you to the point where you're comfortable with everything from teaching it, to doing the team coaching, to handing off to the managers and the salespeople, and kind of moving through the whole process. So that's, in effect, the entire process that we can go through. And we can have someone certified, you know, fairly quickly, or we can take a few weeks in the process.